Hello, all you crazy Unshavenauts. Welcome to episode 13 of the Unshaven Rant-Cast. I am your host, the well-bearded Mark Allen Fishman. I am joined today with my brothers from other mothers, the incomparably full-bearded Matt Wright.
Hi.
And now featuring his goatee, Kyle Nepper.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on?
All right. Well, as we like to start these things now, someone give me a count to 5 and I can stitch in the unshaven news. People on YouTube, you just received 2 counts of 5, so you're welcome. All right. Unshaven news. I actually have like a whole bunch of stuff, and this is weird. I said I got to keep my focus here for the YouTube, but my script is over here. So, first up, I wanted to talk about Las Vegas because we're going to be up in the air in 2 weeks.
Vegas, baby.
Out to
Really?
Vegas.
Yeah,
It's close.
it's
so
too
close.
cool. It is. Now, luckily, I would like to shout out 2 people who will never listen to this podcast, but are going to be huge helps to us. Howard and Marilyn Eisenstein, thank you both for hosting all of our crap. We are sending you card chairs. I just bought ourselves a wire book rack because you guys mind if I lodge a complaint against Amazon?
Go right ahead. This is the
Why?
place. You're in a safe
Sure.
place.
Because I mean they're gonna listen to us.
Right. So I
Us.
ordered us. I figured, we don't want a big wire book rack. We should just get some nice clear acrylic book, single book holders for the table.
Mhm.
Make it classy. And then I get this in the mail,
That doesn't look promising.
and
Huh?
I cracked it open.
Is it for like mini magazine? Like
I mean, these could barely fit a postcard.
Uh,
They're awful. So I already I've put up a refund.
No.
Amazon, you'll be getting these back tomorrow, and I just knuckled under and bought ourselves a wire rack. Oops.
Well, truth be
So
told, we had been toying around with buying a new wire rack anyway. The one we currently use at shows. It's what did we do the math on? It's at least 10 years old at this point.
it's a little. Now I will say I didn't buy the same size rack that we normally go with. So unless we really change things up, and I like our garage band aesthetic, it could mean Kyle's going to get his own micro rack.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. I like that. You guys plan that?
No, we do that better than we do our outro. Shit.
Yeah, yeah, but we'll get to that, everybody. Okay, so let me see here if this can give me the counts. Let's see. If I go to confirmed meetings, gentlemen, we were at 12 before. I now have us at 16 plus,
fantastic.
including one guy who actually wants to meet us before we meet him at the show. He and I are going to figure out a way to Zoom ahead of time because, according to him, the show floor is too loud to conduct business. Now, I'm not exactly sure of how true that is, but I also think he might be the kind of person who demands our money to do the cool things. And
Mm,
I'm not saying no to listening to him because his credits, according to LinkedIn, have him attributed to small companies like Warner Brothers and Universal Pictures.
Okay.
So you never know. So yeah.
yeah, but we've met people like that before where it's, hey, I've worked with so and so and so and so. Really? Yeah, I mean like 10 years ago.
Look at us now. Well, either way, we're very excited to be coming out to Sin City, where we will dad it up like 3 middle-aged fathers can only do it. New Balance shoes, uh, going into the
Hey, I got
town.
Skechers.
Yeah, me too. I can't afford New Balance. And instead of eating off the strip, we're all going to find ways to go into local places and eat like normal people.
Wendy's.
So long as there's no surge pricing.
Oh my God.
You
In
never know.
Vegas?
Not
That'd be
yet.
weird.
I don't know.
Jeez.
Well, that's our Vegas update. So stay tuned. We're ordering everything. I've got business cards. I designed new business cards for us. They look a lot like the old ones, but it's Unshaven Comics logo on the front, and on the back it says Unshaven Comics presents the Sammernauts. Because I
Sounds cool.
figure that's kind of why they're meeting us in the first place. You guys will forgive me. I just put my email on there because I'm the one who's going to answer these things anyway.
Probably safest.
Right.
Yeah, probably the best idea.
So we've got that going on. The only thing we have left to do, in my estimation, is create some flyer type thing that gives all the pertinent data. And I will say, I did hold a couple of conversations with a few folk behind the scene, and every time I told them what our closing ratio is for the Sammernauts, their eyes bug out of their head, and they're like, "Yeah, but what's your sample size?" And I go, 10 years worth of Comic Cons. And then they go, "Well, that's really sound." It's like, yeah, because if you can agree that a Comic Con is a microcosm of our target market, and better than 1 in 3 people buy our book, not just like it, but buy it, that's a pretty good endorsement.
I would think so, but obviously biased.
Right. So that's what we're going in on. Obviously, what we'll definitely be pushing here in the coming weeks is, hopefully, if you are listening to our podcast, all 30 of you, and
Thank you.
yes, please, and thank you, all of you on our social media, Instagram, Facebook. We want more engagement in the next couple of weeks. Like, show people that you like us, and comment and post. And even if it's just you, Brandon, you know that we love you. So
All of you who are listening to this thing that we started putting on YouTube about a month and a half ago, we need your action.
I'm gonna laugh at
No,
myself
it's been
for
longer than that, hasn't it?
no.
Yeah.
We're on episode 13. I mean, we
But
did
they're
our
not all on YouTube.
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's
No,
true. The first couple were Spotify.
first like
Still
6
Spotify.
or 7. I
Yeah.
just realized the folly of me ordering that big thing. I'm like, they just must not make a wire rack that could really support our book. As I turn over and see literally just 2 inches from my face. I'm stupid. Okay, next up, PopCon Indie. This is going to be a long Unshaven News Rant-Cast, kids, because we actually left the house, all 3 of us. It was crazy.
It was amazing, and we documented that we actually stayed in somebody else's house,
Yeah, and we're
specifically an
gonna
Airbnb, and it was an amazing good time. And per our friend of the show, Melinda's, and I quote, "Look at that old man bend."
yeah. We'll get into all that. We'll get into that. It is our first show of 2024, and I would love to start with the data. More than anything else, we do these shows to hang out and have a good time, but also to, make sure that we've done well. So
Keep the
here you
lights
go.
on.
Yeah, exactly. We sold 57 Sammernaut trades, which
Reasonable.
vary. And we'll get into kind of the semantic breakdown of how and when our sales worked, but 57 is good. Again, kind of our personal benchmark, unless anything's changed, is 20 books a day is a great day.
Mm-hmm.
And to only miss that by 3, I don't really find fault to it. And we can kind of talk about the state of the show, Fan Expo, or Indie PopCon, sorry, why we may not have hit 60 plus. We sold 7 Sammernaut Genesis issues. We sold 3 Sammernauts to the max.
It's
And
something.
it is. Kyle sold 62 copies of Toolbox. That can't possibly be real. No, you didn't.
The Toolbox, I think that might be Toolbox and Blooms put together.
No, you sold 9.
I only brought about 50 books total between the 2 of them.
Oh, I see why it did that. Sorry, my mathening didn't work right. So yeah, we're just gonna go.
Mathening.
Did
You granulate from Hithema school?
I did. My mathering. There you go. You sold 9 Toolbox, Kyle. 9.
That sounds more accurate.
That sounds better. That sounds right.
And you sold a Gentleman's 30 of Blooms.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only brought 40 or 50 books to begin with, so I could not have sold 60.
Yes. We sold $40 worth of posters. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
For the cost of what we pay for them, that's good.
Yeah.
And ultimately, here's the big deal, right? I want to read this off. 101 customers to 292 pitches, 34.59% closing ratio. That is better than 1 in 3.
Yep. That's
And
exactly what we look for. So
100%.
just over
And
1 in 3.
and anybody playing the at-home game, Pokemashups netted $438.
Wow.
Yeah, but once you subtract the cost of the table, that gave me about $100 profit.
Then you still got to
Hey,
cut your costs out of
money's
that too
money.
for what you pay for
Yeah.
the cards.
Can't hear that on Spotify, but I just gave a big old double thumbs up. You
There
know
was
what?
a
It was okay.
it was a big grin, but we could all see on YouTube the internal scream that just went with it, Mark. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
But it's okay, honestly. Um, we're gonna get into the actual like semantics of the show, but I would love to get other people's thoughts. Let's talk about Airbnb. This is the first time Unshaven Comics has ever stayed at an Airbnb versus a
I,
hotel.
either of you guys ever do so personally? Like Mark, you've done a lot of work trips for like your day job. You've never used an Airbnb before?
Never.
Okay.
And not for lack of desire, but I've always found that the Airbnb cost wasn't better than the hotel where I was going. This is the first case when it really was. And look, we're transparent about this. We stayed in what was the cut up house that got turned into 3 apartments.
Yeah.
We were staying in sort of the back half of this home. It was the
Not
most square footage I think we've ever stayed in.
Yeah, there's
I
plenty of like
I
spread out space.
I honestly like though when you looked at it, they had a picture of like what the house originally looked like in the wintertime in the kitchen, over the coffee machine. So once you start kind of looking at that, and then you kind of realize from the outside, so that whole back half, that upper half in that garage, that was added on.
Yeah.
And just kind of how the house is laid out and everything else, there was to the side, like they made it was either there was 2 bedrooms that were part of the main house that they walled off and just made their own, or that was added on too. But either way, you were looking at a Frankenstein of a house that was
A little bit.
put together, and we were not really in the back half. We were smack in the middle of like the big run of it, which was kind of it was definitely more room than we ever needed at
It was
all
a lot. It was a
at
lot of
any
like
time.
communal area, which was nice. I will say that
Yes.
maybe we hastily purchased a base when it said sleeps 6. Now, what that was
Yeah.
interpreted into were 2 twin bunks and 2 full-size beds, 1 bedroom, like an actual walled off bedroom, and then a loft area that I didn't actually go up the stairs, but I assume it was like a bed and that was it, or was there like a table?
There
No,
was
it was like
a
a bed up there,
there was a
right?
bed. No, I was the one who slept up there. Don't tell me. I was there.
Let
Well, I
Kyle
I
have
peeked
was
up
his
there. I
way.
was
there
curious. I'm
every
curious.
night.
I walked up there. I was like, oh, there's a
There was
bed
a
up there. I
table with a
didn't.
lamp on it. There was not
Was there?
just,
Okay.
yeah. I put
I
my
just need
phone
to know
next
where
to it
you
every
wrote your
night.
memoirs.
Yes. There was
Yeah,
also a little like table chest thing that I never felt the need to open against the base of the bed as well. And the frame was way too close to the wall. I had to pull that back because like every time I stepped near it, I could hear it like, thump, 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 like tapping against the wall.
not fun.
So
And somehow, I don't exactly know like where it just came to me. I was like, you know what? Well, first of all, it started out as a funny, stupid gag. So if you followed us, I'm not sure if I put it on Unshaven or just my own personal, but when we saw the
I
2
think it
bunk
was
beds,
unshaven. Yeah.
yeah, Matt first decided to get into the bunk bed, the bottom bunk, and that inspired me to also try the bottom bunk, which inspired Matt to try the top bunk. And then at my behest, Matt also tried the bottom bunk with me. It was very cozy. That content was specifically for a couple of fans that we know out in Evansville, so we hope you enjoyed.
I'd
Um,
never get to be the little spoon.
I know, it's okay. But I'll say this much: I don't understand why I was so excited, but I ended up sleeping there all nights, and it wasn't bad.
You know what? I think it was well, you were all prepared to take the couch. And
Yeah,
then that's what it was. you were all prepared to take the couch. I the one bedroom, I said you could take the bedroom, but then I think we Rochambeau'd for it, and I won, I believe. But
Yeah.
then we were looking at the bunk beds, and I just kind of eyeballing it. I think Kyle was saying like there's no way that sleeps an adult. Either you said it, Kyle, or somebody said it. It was like there's no
That
way,
was
and I was
me.
like, you know what, but I was like, no, that kind of looks like it'll hold an adult. So
It
I
looked
crawled
short to
in.
me. And I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you guys both had to like bend your legs just a little
not
bit
by
for
much.
no?
No,
Okay.
no.
I'm
That was,
short though.
but I think that was more of the leading cause for me to go in it because I was like, you know what? It it's it looks small, but because it's so close to the floor, but I think it will hold a full size adult. And yeah, I mean, I had my legs pretty much almost all the way stretched out. Now, for me, if I slept in that thing, yeah, that would be like, looking at a giant, sleep on the kid's bed kind of situation. But
But for Baby Bear, it was just right. Minus that, I will say that I definitely dropped my phone on my face because I didn't have the full extension. But either way, it was a fine Airbnb, and for the price we paid, I think that it's something that we'll consider in the future overall. But moving on, I wanted to call out two interesting sub stories that came out of this. First of all, Unshaven Comics returns to the Chinese buffet. I'd say that I love a good Chinese buffet, and we found just your rock solid standard Chinese buffet, and it was good.
Not a huge
did
number
the
of
job,
choices, but what they had was good.
Yeah, I
did the
mean,
job.
and again, it met the need for sure. It
Sure.
wasn't the best I've been to, definitely wasn't the worst. It was priced appropriately, and well, kudos to Matt for apparently picking up the tab. But
Yes.
it was
Thank you again.
consummate. And that leads us to our second night. Such an interesting tale. Now,
We
I don't
gotta
want
get
to.
into this.
I think the fans demand it. Mm. Now,
Wait, really the fans, or is this just
just
you?
agree. It's entertainment. Look, among the three of us, Kyle's
Palette.
appreciation of food is very straightforward. Kyle does not seek adventure in his food. He does not care where we eat. And when we go to these new cities, Matt and I are like, oh my God, we're going to Charlotte. We could try barbecue. We're going to Baltimore. We got to get some crab cakes. If you couldn't hear that audible eye roll from Kyle, if we went to Wendy's in every city, he would be perfectly fine. But, my friends, there is one restaurant above all else that Kyle Nepper stands for, and that is
Carrabba's Italian Grill.
there you go.
Yes.
So screw you, Olive Garden. Kyle likes Carrabba's. And wouldn't you know it, Indianapolis happens to have Carrabba's, the one I think that you discovered why you love
Yeah.
Carrabba's. So
Yeah.
we went out to Carrabba's, and I know that we were definitely joking, but Kyle has a particular meal there that he loves. And they were offering a promotion that for $10, you can get a second version of that entree to take home with you. And we were thinking that, well, not only would Kyle do that for himself, but that he would cash in on Matt and mine and just stack his chicken marsala and just have them like
Well,
precious.
I think you're jumping the gun here. You're missing some of the best part is that um, we're going to Carrabba's and Mark and I are looking at the menu because we haven't been for a while and we want to look and we're trying to go over things. Kyle starts to look at the menu, at which point Mark and I just jump in like, why are you even bothering? You know what you're getting.
The cursory look, two reasons. Two reasons, because let's be fair, no matter how bulletproof you think your meal is, there's always a chance it could get bumped off the menu. And try to
True,
imagine
very
what a
true.
dinner would look like if we went to Carrabba's and then I found out, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we don't serve the chicken marsala anymore.
And that's how
That
Carrabba's was burnt to the
mm,
ground.
that would
I,
be a
I
rough
imagine
night.
I imagine something akin to the visual image of Mark and me on either side of you, dragging you out of the restaurant as you're barking back, like, I'll never let you live this down. You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
I mean,
No, I wouldn't cause that much drama. It would just be me putting the the menu
Just putting
back,
it down
looking down
politely,
for a
just
moment, walking straight to the door, stopping once right before leaving, looking back and saying, "You used to be beautiful." And
Baby,
then out
please, I
the
can
door.
change. I can find the wine. But I won't get
really?
into any of the I
No,
won't get
no,
into the
no, no,
graphic.
no. Just putting your face in the shirt and just giving a whole like full on just
No, I'd save that for the car.
and then coming up and going like, see, well,
I
No.
actually imagine Kyle would just sort of get really calm, stone faced. We get into the car. Mark, just drive back to the apartment. Well, do you want us to stop at Mark? Just drive back to the apartment. And then we get there. Matt, Mark, go somewhere. Get yourself dinner. I need to be alone. And we
Just
would just
staring into the darkness for the next 9 hours until the next show day
just
starts.
sitting on the edge of the bed, just
yeah. So I won't get into any of the gritty details, but I'll simply say that Kyle enjoyed his first chicken marsala.
I did.
oh, that was a full on eye close. Like we weren't there.
No,
He
Let,
was, he was in another time zone.
let's move this story along because I feel like there's some points that are going to get very
All
much stayed
right.
well,
on.
I was gonna say
Hey,
is
we got a
Kyle
lot of
enjoyed
stuff.
his first one. Kyle had a second one, not in the restaurant, but before the next day of the show, and
And that's fine.
that
I'll even say we got back after dinner, went back, started unwinding for the night, and I just full on microwaved, heated up, and ate the second one right there. I have no problem mentioning that at all.
and the
Now,
funny thing is,
Yeah,
I don't even know what I
because
was doing because I just came in after something, and like
I
it
think you
is
just like went to the bathroom. It's like we got back, you
yeah,
guys put your stuff down, you go to the bathroom, you come back, and I'm sitting down to another plate of chicken marsala and
yeah.
fettuccine Alfredo noodles,
To
like
which
God
oh no,
intended.
I, look, to your credit, Kyle. I've never seen a man eat something so fast in my entire life. Like you wolfed that thing down. Like so much so that I believe Mark did come out of the bathroom and just look at the empty container and be like, did you just eat the second?" And you were like, "I was hungry." Like
it was impressive. Now
Accurate, yeah.
I'll fast forward to the next day. Let's just say that that didn't leave Kyle in a good state of physical well-being the next day,
mm-mm.
No, I got full on food poisoning.
which yeah,
Mild case, but yeah, didn't sleep well, and I'd slept the first 2 nights. This was night three. The first 2 nights I slept fine, despite new environment. I slept good, and that night, no, I woke up like sweaty and uncomfortable. I had to get up to go to the bathroom, which I usually don't a whole lot at night, but and yeah, by morning, I yeah.
down for the count. And this led us to a very interesting situation in which we had Kyle, but we didn't have Kyle. And
Yeah.
if we can get into the nitty gritty here, just of the actual show. So Friday was a down day. And I'm just going to personally attribute this that Indianapolis as a whole, first and foremost, had a Comic Con 6 weeks prior. So this second show, which decidedly was pop culture, air quotes, so not a Comic Con, I don't think people
Well,
took off for it, to be honest. I think that
no,
the VIPs that showed up because they had photo opportunities with the various celebrities and stuff showed up. We moved 11 trades of Samurnauts. Kyle moved 13 blooms. So, I mean, it wasn't a bad day by any estimate there, but it was
no, but
not like a great.
no, and I do believe one of our neighbors did say like what was it night one of like the Pacers like playoff game. So like
Yeah, they played.
Yeah.
you're fighting a big tide.
It
So
was a lot. And I'll also, I'd like to give a shout out to Indianapolis's worst parking garage ever, not for the lack of space or anything, but for the $53 we paid.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm glad that we could afford it as a company, but oh, never again. The con space itself was nice enough. The show, if I'm being dead honest, if I were a fan, I don't know how much I would have paid to be there and felt like I got my money's worth. It felt sort of like Wizard towards the end. The show floor, I'm going to get into it a little bit more at the Unshaven Views portion of this, but just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that. So overall, it was a good show. We technically beat our last Indiana appearance, which was 2018, by 7% in terms of Sammernaut sales. So
Yeah.
above all
Nice.
else, it's a win.
Good.
We walk away from a win. So
And for any of those wondering, Sunday, just briefly a touch. Thankfully, we got me to the point where everything was staying inside of me before we left the Airbnb, and drove to get breakfast. Matt and Mark ate. I laid down in the car, and after we got to the show, we positioned me in a nice, comfortable card chair behind the banner out of view because nobody wants to see a half unconscious Kyle trying to keep it together.
Kyle, can you
And
give the people on YouTube a little bit of if they could see what Kyle was doing behind the banner?
it was truly just arms like this, head down.
No, no, no,
Not
no, no,
always.
no, 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 no,
Not
no.
always.
Before you
Oh,
move,
yeah.
because here's the thing, we had to move you
There it
because when
is.
you were in front, you had your hands over your face, just like you saw. So
Yeah.
YouTube audience,
Elbows
just like you
propped up,
saw on the
elbows
table.
propped on my legs.
So the problem is that while we know he's trying to get sleep, everybody walking by is thinking this man's house just burned down and like he's got a dead kitten at home or something. Like
It's like, what
that's what it
existential
looked like from the
crisis is
outside.
that?
Like he's
Is
like,
that
why did I
comic
bet it
writer
all?
suffering?
Why? Bernie Madoff, I thought I loved you. I just it was just
Yeah, yeah.
so we were like, Kyle, you let's get you look, we'll stand up, we'll sell, dude. Like we'll do
Because
what we
yeah, I
can, get some sleep behind the banner, and eventually we knew you were partially asleep. We heard a little bit of some snoring, but I
between
was
the
happy to hear that, dude. I was
yeah,
happy to hear that.
between the dehydration and for those who have experienced it, you know how you feel after the worst is over as you start climbing back out. For anyone who's never had food
Food poisoning.
poisoning like this, even mild, man,
Oh, it's the
not
worst.
great.
It's the
Not
worst.
great. But thankfully, climbed my way back out. I basically slept behind the banner like that. Show opened at 10. I think I was finally ready to crawl out from behind the banner around 12:30 to 1.
Yeah.
And until then, these two get wherever they're wherever
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are in the video next to me. These two guys held the line. Matt rallied and just pulled it together and stood up there and sold and sold. So
It was
the
really funny
answer
to
is,
sell. It was you know what was a struggle, Kyle, was I have the Samurnauts pitch in my head down from years.
oh yeah.
Selling your book and recognizing like, okay, these girls are probably going to go for this. Selling your book, I literally had to have an issue of Toolbox face up because the pitch is on the back of the book on the table, and I'm like, all right, here's Toolbox, and they're looking through, and I'm just slyly looking down, like I'm trying to read a
Just
bad Cliff
reading the
Notes, like
description on the back.
We
just
don't
going
even
through
try
it,
to hide it.
and
That's fine.
you know what? Honestly, like, bless those young ladies for buying the book, and thank you for waking up briefly to sign it. They did buy the excuse. I'm like, hey, let me get the writer. He just he partied a little hard last night. He's just trying to sleep it off. You know, just
Well, you know what? It's not wrong. Carabas is wild.
it's not. But I look, me
This is
saying
how
you party too hard,
42-year-old Unshaven Comics party.
me saying you party too hard is sounding a lot better than like he puked his shit out yesterday.
Food poisoning. We had to wheel him in here.
Mm-hmm.
He's
No.
drunk on wine sauce.
But
Well,
for anyone who ever wondered what happens when Kyle's at a show and completely internally collapses, much like when a body loses a sense, the others kick into hyperdrive and make up for the difference for as long as needed. And that is
there we
exactly
go.
what happened.
That's why
So
Matt and I are forming a two-piece punk band called the Antibodies. All right. So what comes up for us, Unshaven
Dibs on drums.
Comics? Right. Perfect. Coming up this year, if you want to catch Unshaven Comics, these are the shows we are doing for sure. We are going to be at Cherry Capital Con in Traverse City, Michigan, May 24th through the 26th. We will be at Heroes Con, Charlotte, North Carolina, June 14th through the 16th, and Baltimore Comic Con in Baltimore, Maryland, September 20th through the 22nd. We might be doing some other shows here and there. We'll also be at the Homewood Art and Garden Fair. I just realized that I'm basically going to be in and out of my house 3 out of 4 weeks in a row.
Hmm.
Awesome. Well, please come catch us. Grab some books, grab some Poke mashups, grab some of Kyle's books, grab some Matt's commissions. Do it. All right. I think that's going to do it. Let's all do our 5 fingers here and get 5 seconds of silence for the unshaven views. Kyle, get your D6 ready. All right. People on YouTube are getting a show. So roll that D6.
Okay, there we go. That's a big old number 1.
All right, Matt, who has not filled out his portion of our script, hit us with your
Wow.
mystery.
Wow. I never go first. It's usually you two going first. This feels so weird.
The die has spoken.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I kind of want to jump into a topic. It's something I was loosely forming and I wanted to write it on the sheet, and just something I observed in Indie PopCon, which is um kind of to me, which was the more that everything looked the same. Okay, so it is something that we run across in shows, that you have a lot of booths at some point looking the same with the print walls and things of that nature. There are certain things, but it really came across hardcore in Indie PopCon, maybe just because it was more pop culture, maybe because it was more handmade heavy, whatever it may be. A lot of people, especially if you have like that SoCal kind of art style kind of going for you, using the hot pink drapery and backstop and everything else. And not saying don't use it. I'm not telling you to not use the hot pink, but I'm also trying to put forth the fact that, when you have enough of people using the same together, you as a business person, it's hard to draw attention to you as a business person if you have that awesome print, that cosplayer or that kid that really wanted it, but they were just looking around, but now they want to come back and buy it. And hey, what booth was it at? Oh, it was at the one that had the hot pink, you know, dressing. Well, you had literally 20 booths there that had hot pink dressing. Like some of them were like 5 in a row,
Yeah.
and and just kind of putting it out there to like up and coming artists and companies, or just in general, guys in the trenches like us trying to make our name. uh you know it's not, don't use the pink, but use something to go with it to set yourself apart. If you're going to drive business to you, or you're going to bring business back to you, you need to have something that at least sets you apart enough that people can find you again in the show. Because to me, I think that really hurt a lot of people. I saw a lot of people behind those booths. You know, I mean, this leads into some other stuff that we always rant about as far as like sales technique and the whatnot. But you need to. There has to be a certain level of individualism that comes forth from you, so that they can find you. That's the whole point. We're all there to make money. We're all there to show our arts. And it's really hard to keep people coming back to you if you look like 20 other booths. So, an observation and a fair warning to anybody that finds us, wants to do shows, being up and comers. It's one thing if you don't have a lot of money and you're just trying to ape a style a little bit, trying to get your toe wet or whatever it may be, but find that voice, find the way to make you look somewhat different, because you're going to get lost real fast. The guys,
Yeah.
the guys in shows, especially big shows like New York, that have the huge print walls that have a ton of anime images that look the same. They are beautiful to look at. My issue is that I couldn't tell you if they were, the same guy buying two booths or all five different individuals. I don't
There
You
was a
know,
lot of that, and I mean, funny
there's a
thing
lot of
is,
sameness. So,
I have to laugh, Matt, because you didn't read our show note speech because this was going to be my topic. But
look,
but
I'm
you know what?
sorry.
I had a different angle
had to
for it.
use the
You got a
boys'
different
room.
angle.
I had a different
I
angle for it, but I'm gonna glom on just to
Yeah,
say that.
if you want to take your turn, and because that's about as much as I've got onto it. So if you
Oh
want to
no,
roll into yours
I've
with
got
it,
something else from Indie that we
okay,
can talk
all
about.
right,
But
all right, all right.
I just to yes and you, I agreed, and I think even less of the prints. I felt like there was so much of the same merchandise. This is
True, very true.
like everyone seemed to have the same little collection of anime plushies and similar. I counted 4 or 5 booths that all had the Gunpla Gundam boxes all kind of stacked and piled. It felt like the same 8 vendors just
Right,
swapping their stuff, all kind of
there
there.
was a lot of weapons vendors. Now,
A lot of
again, this
weapon
is
vendors.
yeah. Now this, I think my particular rant is I'm not going towards vendors. Vendors of you know we've been dealing with the fallout of like people that just have straight Funko booths for years now, where it's just how do you tell one from the other? They all look the fucking same. Pardon my French. I'm talking more about individually in Artist Alley. You're trying to sell your wares and you you're rolling out your cute stuff and you have a hot pink dressing and everything else. Well, what happens when you get set up and you realize that your neighbors have the same exact table dressing?
Well,
It's
Kyle,
hard to make sure they get to you.
just a counterpoint. I mean, a lot of those, a lot of the people who were selling prints like that were younger, like artists in a lot of the cases for some of them. And
Right.
for what they were selling, a lot of them were very anime inspired, and a lot of them were very like effeminate characters primarily on those there. So, I mean, for what they were selling and for the experience of some of the people we saw setting up those tables, that I'd be willing to bet cash that there's probably a tutorial on how to set up a print booth that
Oh,
uses that kind of dressing. And if
I
enough
have
people are following it, or enough people just think, okay, I'm selling very effeminate characters, the color aesthetic, white and pink.
I
That's
and again, it goes back to my saying, I don't dock you if you're new and you're trying to find your voice and you're trying to maybe ape a style just to kind of get your toe wet into it. But um, it's just to me like you're gonna get lost. And
how
if you're
many
really
years do you
trying
give
to,
them till you yellow card them? Two
I'm
years,
just,
three
I'll just
years.
say like I would just like to offer some meager advice as far as like look, when you're starting out, you're just trying to make it, and I get that. But if you do it for like a season or two of convention seasons, start adding something to mix it up so that you're not blending in with all the other, hot pink stuff.
or
That's all I'm trying to say.
Or it could be, and I'm not saying this is what happened, just saying possibility, could be there is one super well-selling booth that does this, and 3 to 4 people decide, I'm gonna copy their booth style, and people think I'm them and buy my prints.
Kyle, are
That
you
is a business
wait,
plan.
no. Kyle, are you telling me that if somebody does something at a con that maybe they get known for that works for them really well, I'm just going to pluck something out of there, like a sign or something. You're telling me somebody would take that for their own?
Well, yes, Mark, I am saying that. That somebody can see that works for that person. I can do that without much effort myself, and who knows? Maybe something will happen and I will get more attention, or more people will think I'm them and that they've seen it so many times, and I can reap some benefit.
We're not
Whether
talking
it's
to anybody specifically about this, mind
booth
you.
decoration or a sign or maybe a particular
Signage
type
or
of font or something that's used at their
even a
display.
phrase, if you will. Interesting. I
But
will
anyway,
interrupt before we move on to the next topic. I'm going to interrupt to say that our banner for Vegas, the proof, just came across my email, and I wanted to make sure you guys approved.
Oh,
So
we gonna all look at it together?
yeah, that all 30 of you on YouTube, you get to see this sneak peek too. So uh,
sweet.
here we go. I'm going to Creative
Reward for
Vortex by,
watching.
there we go. All right, can you guys see?
I can.
Ooh. How wide is that again?
This is 5 feet wide by 7.5 feet tall.
Looks great.
Yeah. I mean, this is the claim to fame, right? So let's not hide it.
Well, this is going to be great because now we've got something extra besides the one standee of our cover for the Samronauts to go behind us as well. Like it's
By the
just a
way, we
straight
used
up.
to have an Unshaven comic one. I
We
don't know
still
what
do.
happened to.
It's
Where
in
is
my
it?
garage.
Did
It's in my
we?
garage.
No wonder. That's why. So we
It's
have
rolled
to get
up.
that out of your garage and into mine. So
It's
anyway,
rolled up. Yeah,
cool.
but I think that one still has you with the jaunty cap on it.
No, 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 no. We have the new logo version. We got one when we made the Samronaut one.
Wasn't
I
that
have,
one like white fabric background?
yeah.
Man, that's gonna be so hard to keep clean if it's even clean at all still at the
Well,
moment.
we'll see. I don't know where it is,
I
but
I,
anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's in my garage.
we'll check.
But anyway, to wrap up my final thoughts, I'm just trying to say, guys, like, you know, I get you trying to ape other people. I get there's probably a tutorial like Kyle said. I'm sure there's all that stuff, but um, if you keep it looking the same as everybody else, there's a possibility you're going to get lost. There's a possibility of lost revenue and sales because you're going to look like everybody, so they're going to confuse you with everybody, and you're not going to get the sales back. Possibly, you know, just just something I've noticed as a con goer and what my old madness or whatever it may be. So
Take it. Kyle, roll that die.
Okay. It's a 2. That's Matt again, so we're gonna give this another shot. There we go. That's a 6.
Okay. So that's me. Uh One thing that we did after hours, so normally when we head back to the hotel or Airbnb or whatever, lately it's been Kyle impressing upon Matt and I how we should subscribe to Dropout. And by showing us nothing but Dropout, talking about Dropout, and then ringing a bell every time he says Dropout. Have you guys ever tried Dropout? You should.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure he gets a check in the mail every time it's
he
mentioned.
might. He might.
I
Now,
do it purely for the love of Dropout.
yes, as well you should. Now,
Ding.
in addition to us catching the pilot for the Fallout show on Amazon, which I enjoyed thoroughly and will watch when I find space in between watching Billions, we also happened to catch the first half of the show Nightman,
Oh God.
which I take full credit for putting on.
You pushed
Um,
hard.
I did. And you
He
know what?
did.
I don't regret it at all. It was awful in the best way. For those who are not familiar with Nightman, I can't do any better than just telling you verbatim what it's about. So, uh, jazz saxophonist Johnny Domino is hit by cosmic lightning, and thanks in part to a weird, was there an ethnic background to the group?
I don't
Or
think
maybe,
so.
okay, so let's hope that there was no background, but he gets ownership eventually, now that you see it in the first half of the pilot, of a special spec ops suit that includes 5 very powerful combat weapons, including a cape, an anti-gravity belt,
Wait.
a
Isn't it a cloak of invisibility?
it's
I
a cloak of
believe.
invisibility that it's an anti-gravity belt. It is the bulletproof costume, or whatever they want to call it. Um,
Something goes through the clothes to make them bulletproof.
right. And then the world's dumbest designed eyepiece, which also has a super laser and infrared vision. And home. What was the last?
Well, so
Hologram.
there was 4 of them, and then
Oh
there was
yes,
something that
he could
controlled all
have.
of them.
Yeah, he could. There was something to control it,
Oh,
and he got a
yeah.
hologram projector, which in the show open, like the title, with the song and all the theme song, they show that he uses the hologram to project him tootling some jazz while he goes and defends the night as Nightman. It
Which
was terrible.
I have questions about it because it's it's creating a projection. Where's the audio coming from? Because if I'm seeing Johnny Domino on stage, is it coming through speakers or is it the little projector in the corner of the room that's creating the sound? And isn't that going to throw people a little bit if that's the case? Second, it seems to occupy like a 3 by 3 square of space that the hologram moves in. I don't know what kind of performance people look for in their saxophonist here, but if they never ever do musicians play the saxophone generally move? Do they stay confined to that?
While
Just
Kyle
remember
tries
the
to figure out
hologram
the
kind of
logistics of this,
I
the hologram has him like kind of swaying. Now, my problem with the hologram itself comes into the issue of the fact that he's using this for performance. What if he gets like one of his band members is just like, "Hey Johnny, I feel it. Let's riff tonight. Let's go." And he's trying to like, and it's just the hologram just.
how often does he have to record a new hologram performance like in his home that just has to be stage ready? And more importantly,
Wow.
how is this
Does
being
this make him like the first TikToker, like recording himself? Just
do they have a curtain, or is it just suddenly like there's a flash of light and he's there on stage
there's a
and then
curtain. There
disappear?
is
Okay.
there is a
I mean,
curtain.
they're
I
implying
remember
like
that
he's got
much.
some wild fans. Like, what if
He,
one of them throws like panties or something up at him? Like, he's
yeah,
just gonna go right through
you'd
him. Like,
need he would need a minimum of 3 people in on this conspiracy between the club owner and whoever's pulling that curtain, because there's a backstage area, right? There's you cannot do this unobserved. Why am I making sense of this? Why am I
I don't know.
trying?
I've
dude,
enjoyed.
look, he's pulling a very high tech Milli Vanilli. That's exactly
Yes.
what he's doing.
Yeah, but he's not even physically there. People are gonna man, all it takes is one person who decided they didn't like
You
that
suck,
jazz
Johnny.
song
Oh
that night
shit.
to throw a beer bottle,
Um,
and the charade is broken.
and it was this reaction that Kyle provides that is exactly why I wanted to watch the show. Um, it was awful, as I said, in the absolute best way. The fact that they needed to waste an entire hour of television to get you to a point, and he doesn't even dress as the Nightman by the end of the pilot. It is
Oh
interesting.
no,
It's
was
at the end of it, but
well. I mean, like
They
that's
build.
well, we did the first hour. Like that's back in the day when like
pilots would
shows like
last two
that.
episodes
Yeah, pilots were like a 2 hour movie event
for a
kind of
dramedy.
thing.
The funny
Oh
thing is, I
man,
used to read the Nightman book and I Wikipedia'd the character because I'd forgotten so much of it. And on the page, Nightman is an interesting character, not the best or anything like that. And he did not use his hologram to snow people on the jazz stage. He would perform jazz and then go out later in the night because one of his powers is that he couldn't sleep anymore
right.
and that he didn't need it. But as a
Because that's not going to
series,
lead to any kind of mental disorder.
I mean, he's already a jazz musician. How many more mental disorders would you like him to have? Suffice to say, it wasn't. It was exactly as it needed to be, and it could have also lent to Kyle's food poisoning. So
Mm.
I
for
like to
that,
think it
Kyle,
wasn't the Carrabba's, it was Nightman that caused me to get violently ill the next morning.
because your head was doing the mental gymnastics and then like the marsala wine sauce kind
I
of
just
boiled up and then but I don't if he's cloaking himself in mid-flight, how can he control where
I
he's going?
I just look to suspend belief however I can to be immersed in the story, and when the show actively makes that harder, it's like my brain trying to break through a wall so I can try to get the good endorphins to enjoy
Look,
the show.
they were using all of the tricks that early 90s television could afford them as far as like CGI. Like
Fallout,
clearly at some point they're in front of a
Loctite,
green screen on
Nightman.
like some kind of forklift that they just kind of like edited out to say that they're flying. But
I mean, he didn't even assume a superhero pose. He was just yeah. It was something. Now that was me. Kyle, default to you for your topic before we hit our final questions and get out of here.
I've got like 3 or 4 that I put down here, and I'll save the others because I am going to go back in because we've already talked how I talk about Dropout nonstop. For anyone,
Pick your strongest or roll it. I don't care. All
Oh
no,
no,
no, I'm just
he
gonna go
already
for the
knows
one
what
I
he's going
want
to
to talk
talk about.
about.
right.
I want to talk about something good. That involves, my love of Dropout, but also a large, bloated, corrupt corporation being punished. Um, so Dropout is going to have a live performance in Madison Square Garden. They are going to have one of their Dimension 20, one of their series, one of their few series. It's gotten multiple seasons. Unsleeping City, which is essentially kind of like a superhero story set in New York.
Okay.
They are going to have they did 2 seasons of the show. They're going to have a single one shot bringing the characters and the people who played them all back together, and they're going to play live at Madison Square Garden. They put tickets on sale a couple of weeks ago, and they sold it out. Over 19,000 seats. They sold out Madison Square Garden for people who paid who want to come and see this show. So
Great.
that is amazing. It's an incredible achievement. They came on afterwards saying, we had no expectation we would actually sell this many seats, and we are shocked, first, that we were able to get this pulled off, but second, that we sold everything. A lot of the news of them coming out, though, was also because, surprise, surprise, because it's Madison Square Garden, the ticket selling was handled by Ticketmaster. And a lot of people end up having to pay for a lot more than they should have because, as Ticketmaster will describe it, well, a lot of seats were put into people's carts, but not sold because they just didn't complete the transaction. So there were a lot of seats that weren't fully available at the immediately when the selling was happening. And because tickets were selling so quickly, their system compensated by raising the prices of any tickets that were suddenly put back into play or any seats put back into play. Most people inside the industry who have been so bitter and angry have said, no, that's bull. The word that goes around from them is no, they purposely hold seats. They block stuff out to see how quickly it sells, and if it's going fast, they'll just raise the prices and unblock them as soon as they can, and raise the prices on them.
And
So
this
instead of
happened.
And that is exactly what happened. There were people paying $600 and $700 for seats that should have been 150
Ooh.
because they were selling out immediately. They did in 2 days this happened. There was a day of early seat sales and then the general sales open release. So both of them
How does
immediately
that show?
sold out
Like,
their
I guess
blocks.
it's they don't add a fee or anything. It literally just the price of the ticket just goes up.
Yeah, so that's not going to drop out. They're not going to see extra money because of this. They're going to get what they contractually agreed with.
Oh,
And
that is
yeah,
Yeah.
complete bull. So they
yeah,
charge $500 for a $150 seat and they pocket $350.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason.
And
There's a whole complete reason why I believe in the 90s, Pearl Jam like
Yeah, they
went on a huge boycott for because they felt Ticketmaster's policies and everything else were sleazy back then. I remember going to a Pearl Jam concert with my dad and my brother, and like literally in the middle of the concert, like you have Eddie Vedder probably at the height of his fame of Pearl Jam screaming Ticketmaster sucks, and then you have the entire stadium in one chant going Ticketmaster sucks. So it's
isn't
like,
that,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift taking them on too?
She is.
Mm,
We'll get to that in a second. So, uh, because of this, good on Dropout, they released a statement that the system as it worked was not cleared with them. They did not approve it to work that way, and they're actually taking steps so that any future shows they do, they've laid out, here's what we're going to do to prevent this in the future. So they're going to take steps and they're doing what they can to try to make sure that this doesn't happen again wherever they are in the future for venues.
Good.
So, about 2 or 3 days after all this happened, the Department of Justice announced that it was going to be investigating Ticketmaster for practices and problems with how they were working. And I would be willing to guess it's probably related to a lot of similar complaints that came out to the recent, like, phenomenally successful Taylor Swift tour. So that almost certainly is what's doing it rather than Dropout. But the timing of it is nice to see Dropout, who very much a lot of their shows and messages are fairly capitalism is always the bad guy, seeing that they are, immediately taken advantage of and used by a very bloated and not untrustworthy corporation to then immediately have themselves get bitten in the ass for doing it.
Now, the good news is obviously if the Department of Justice is going to take on um, Ticketmaster, a la Taylor Swift helping, Dropouts at least has more data that they can lend to whatever case is going to be built against them because they can say, hey, we advertised tickets at $150 and here you can see all of our fans who
That
I'm
pricing
sure,
may not be exactly correct.
whatever it might have
I
been.
glanced at the pricing, but at no point, as much as I'd love to, at no point was I seriously considering going to this show.
Well,
They
you don't
will,
live in New York, but
yeah, well, yeah, that neither do most of the people who are going. There's a lot of
true,
people
but
who are flying in specifically in New York for the show.
you're also
But
42 and you have two kids.
yeah, it's plus they've also stated it will be filmed and it will be eventually streaming on Dropout.
I mean, suffice
So,
to say, Kyle, if they said, hey, we're coming to the United Center,
oh yeah, if they were coming to Chicago, or it's not necessarily them, but some of the people associated with them, NADPOD, have done shows in Wisconsin. So it's possible it could happen, and if it does, I will be on the lookout. But but yes, I'm excited that good positives. They sold out Madison Square Garden. They have the clout to be at Madison Square Garden. Negatives, Ticketmaster and these ticket selling companies are greedy. It's just who they are. But they're getting caught and punished on it.
now, for anybody who wasn't paying attention, Kyle, if they were curious to learn a little bit more about this company, where might they find out about that?
You can find out about on dropout.tv. There's also a arrangement of fabulous clips on YouTube and TikTok. So you can find a lot. Wait, have we outlawed TikTok? Can I say that? Are we going to get in trouble?
I think we're okay.
Okay.
Mm.
It is a thing that happened.
Yes, people on YouTube pay no attention to what's going on above my shoulder. That is absolutely not a box that is filled with snacks directly for the parents of this house because their children have sticky fingers.
That's why it's padlocked.
Ain't it though? All right, we've got a couple of questions from a couple of people. We're going to answer
Okay.
those and we're going to get out of here.
Great.
Let me go over to them and let's see what people have said. Oh, I have it on the other screen. That's why I couldn't find it. Move, move, move. Oh, sorry. I was causing trouble in a different group and someone's responding to that. Okay, moving. Here we go. We have got three of our favorite people. First of which, Kathy Fishman. Been watching a lot of Family Guy lately on Hulu. So to be honest, I usually don't go past season 12 because frankly, much like The Simpsons, it kind of becomes crap. Do you have any episodes that are favorites and still make you giggle? My favorites are To Live and Die in Dixie, Family Gay, and When You Wish Upon a Weinstein.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know them personally by the titles anymore, but I did actually watch an episode with Mara last Wednesday. It was in the first season, and I couldn't stop laughing, and it was all just that first season Family Guy sharp humor. I can't even remember the episode, to be honest. I just remember like watching it back going, I can't believe they got away with this. Couldn't do it now. Um, oh my god, it's gonna really bother me too. Oh, it'll
I,
come to me, but
I remember jokes or bits or one-off jokes more than I remember most episodes, honestly. Like the episode with the chicken fights. I mean, it's the whole I remember the
Yeah,
fights. I don't remember the rest of the episodes, and I feel like some of their jokes are kind of structured that way. Uh,
definitely.
the only
yeah. I
one I
remember
remember, sorry,
gags. No, I was gonna say I agree with you. I remember the gags. I don't remember the show titles per se.
the one I probably remember like most of the episode and like laughing a lot at a lot the jokes consistently through the episode the most would probably be the one where the English guy buys the bar, the drunken clam,
Yeah,
and
Oh,
because there's the subplots and everything all tied back into it because it's like his daughter was like had this awful accent and Stewie was gonna teach her to treat like a
My
proper
Fair
lady.
Lady.
That was the
My
B
Fair Lady.
plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled a My Fair Lady or Pygmalion. Uh, they pulled that for the B plot. The bar was sold. The guys got sent to prison, and it had like the most grim ending where, the guy who bought the bar, it turns out it was a fraud and he got arrested for it. And I just remember Lois saying, "Oh, that Nigel, whatever they do is too good for him." And the next thing you see him being like hung on like a dreary day in England. And it's
Yeah,
the whole, oh my God.
right. They used to go there. Okay, so the episode itself, now I do recall, it's the one where Lois goes to Taekwondo.
Okay, I kind
But
of
again,
remember that
like
one.
like you guys are saying, like the individual gags, it was a sharper show than it's become. It's still like The Simpsons. It's still watchable. I just don't go out of my way to see it.
I think the only one that really comes out full on episode is probably when they did Blue Harvest when they made fun of Star Wars. Like that's
Oh
probably because I
yes.
own it. I bought it and I own. They released it, and it's like the only thing of Family Guy that I've went and bought to own because the amount of inside jokes of Star Wars jokes, and sorry if you're not Star Wars fans or anything of that nature, but the amount of inside Star Wars jokes that were in that, just I could not catch my breath. Just
It was good back in the day.
laughed.
Well, on that note, a regular around these parts, Brandon Wenzel. Check him out on
Hi,
Hey,
Brandon.
Brandon's YouTube. He's awesome. He reviews food of all types. He has a couple of questions for us.
Shoot.
First one, favorite food item to grill in the summer?
mm,
Bratwurst.
My dad's barbecue chicken, which I need to get the recipe out from him before. Yes.
Bratwurst, and it's a point of contention because my wife loves the ones that have like the cheese inside, and
mhm.
I, yeah, I still prefer plain. Traditional one on a bun, sauce, delicious. It is the taste of grilling out to me as a bratwurst.
Can't
I
I
got too
can't
many.
argue against a burger, but
I can't. Yeah, I got too many. Like the class, you're never gonna get away from the classic smell of a burger cooking over charcoals.
It's good,
Absolutely
but
amazing.
it's saturated. I mean, I can get a burger from a billion places. I don't get bratwurst hardly anywhere except for at a barbecue.
well, I
I
think
look, I love a good brat. Um, I'll never take away a good brat. I love a good hamburger. I like. There's too many things to pick.
Hot dogs, steak, ice grilled steak off a charcoal grill is fantastic.
Steak is
been
absolutely
forever
amazing
since
over
I've had a
there.
steak off a grill. Yeah. There's too many.
Steak
There's
off a
too many.
grill. Um, I mean, this coming Sunday, I'll be doing trash can ribs and probably firing up the charcoal grill for some other stuff. But yeah,
What time was that?
it's Mother's Day special, buddy. That's not the communal one.
Hey man, I'm a mother.
Actually, you know what I just did today for Cinco de Mayo? I got some beef short ribs and I marinated them for a little while. Then I just did a quick grill with them, and then we chopped them up and we had steak tacos for Cinco de Mayo. So
Nice.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Glad I was
All right,
invited.
what's he
All
got
right.
next?
Next he asks, Chili's, Fridays, Ruby Tuesday, or Applebee's?
They're all virtually the same.
Chili's.
Uh, I'm
I
gonna
was
say
never really,
Fridays.
I'm gonna
never
pull a
big on
shocker
Ruby
here and say
Tuesday.
Applebee's.
You know what? I've seen Behind the Veil. I can't do it. Not anymore.
See, it didn't bother me except for those like 2 months where I couldn't eat mashed potatoes. And I can't even hold that against because they weren't doing anything wrong.
No.
It was just the first time I'd ever seen something cooked in a huge batch. It literally was two of the ladies in the back who worked prep every morning, making what had to have been 30 pounds of mashed potatoes in a giant tub.
Hmm.
And I'm just looking at going, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the ingredients are right. It's so much.
At
And it just
scale, it can
put me
work.
off mashed potatoes for easily
Uh,
2 months.
Having worked for Domino's and Applebee's, I can say that I don't, I can eat at both of the places. I don't have a problem with it. But when you've seen how they make the sauce at Domino's and when you've seen where a riblet comes from, I'll just choose any of the other ones.
Like you just order the Fiesta Lime chicken instead.
Oh, the
But
Fiesta
Can I
Lime
just do?
chicken is fire. It is.
Can I just do Don Pablo's?
Hey,
or
Like
on the
watch your
border.
That was
watch your
not the
mouth.
question, Matt. That was not the question.
Let's not bring up our dead relatives here. Okay, his last question here. Favorite all around comic company.
Mm,
Image? No, us. Us?
You can choose
Unshaven
us.
Comics?
Sure. I mean, it's
I
hard to
love
argue, but I'm gonna say
I
DC.
I love us.
I
As,
do.
I
We
I
love
gotta
don't
us
love
especially
too.
us, but
I love us. You know, there's self love, and I don't know. To me, like the big two have been around for a while. It's hard to just pick one. But I would probably have to say just the era we grew up in. Like I just have a really deep love for Image Comics. Like it came at the right time in my childhood. You know,
I'm not gonna say Malibu. I'm still, you know what? All things considered, I will
no love for
always
Valiant.
no love for Valiant. DC. I have more affinity, more love for as deep a bench as they go, and I love their Mortius Morts, and I think their biggest, their top seven Trump Marvel's top seven for me personally, and like what I like. So
That there's a lot of
DC.
stuff that comes with that. I mean, with DC, you also get Vertigo, and there's so many facets that kind of get contained in there too. So I would say I begrudgingly say that I do think I love DC more than Marvel, but I think
Mm-mm.
I love Image's freedom because it's the whole. It's like, yeah, I've got the big names, I've got our mainstays, I've got my Walking Dead giant section, the Kirkmaniverse, but it's the whole. But they get out so many indie-ish books and so many short, amazing stories and stuff that come out of it too. Yeah, I gotta say, Image. I like what
Yeah,
they've done
Yeah,
better than the others.
yeah. Image has been around for a while, and they've always had books that have interested me on multiple different levels. If I had to choose between the big two, I always leaned Marvel more than DC. That was me. So
Plus, I feel like it makes me less of a mainstream horror, slightly, if I say Image.
sure.
by that
Okay.
much, by that much.
All right. If you want to pull that beret off a little bit, buddy. Okay, last question here from Michael Sacco Gibson. Best and worst couch co-op games you have ever had to play with your kids.
Oh,
I'm gonna just take the L on this one and say, Michael, I have never sat down and played a co-op game with my children, and I don't have any problem with that, and I have no intention of changing it.
I
They
mean,
game differently than I do, and
yeah.
I cannot play the way they play.
I mean, my oldest is 6, so I haven't really had that come up a lot yet. I mean, they're still working their way through Mario, and I mean, does that count? I had to play Super Mario World 3D,
I mean,
where
it's
it's the
best and
whole
worst,
Mario and
Kyle. So you
Luigi.
tell us, was it great or was it terrifyingly terrible?
I mean, you're playing with somebody who throws a tantrum if you don't you just, telepathically know and do exactly what they want. It's like,
Well, we know
no,
how you
Dad,
play,
I
Kyle,
wanted
but what
that
about your
power up.
kids? Yeah, no,
It's
I
it's playing
haven't
with
done it.
unreasonable people, man. It's not the game that's the problem. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't expect reasonability out
yeah.
of a 6-year-old. It's just not there.
I
I
don't think
mean,
You gotta build it.
I don't think I've done a co-op per se, as far as like, working together as a common goal to try and get there. I've played my kids where the Wii was an amazing gift as far as like Wii Sports, getting my kid, playing with my kids on that stuff, bowling and baseball and stuff like that. You know, that was that was a lot of fun, but like as far as like on the Xbox, like not so much. He's trying to convince me to open up a secondary account so that, he can have more friends with his player. He's like, you can always play with me too. I'm just like, dude, I go to your defense, Mark. I'm like, you and I game totally, totally different. And also, if there is opening up a secondary thing, we're playing Halo 2, and you're gonna learn something today.
we got
And
to
see
play
what
what Dad
happens when I
plays.
get 2 of the Needlers.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
like,
you're gonna learn something today. I think the worst I've done head on head is when with the Wii was was Mario Kart.
Mm.
I had Mario Kart, and here's the funny thing. He was dumb enough at the time. At the time, he played it like it was supposed to. With he had like the wheel and everything. We had the wheel. You put the
Yeah.
Joy-Con in and everything else. I opted for me to have the remote clicked in to a classic pad where I could power drift.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
And
man.
and yeah, that was definitely him looking at me going like, wait, what?
I mean, to that credit, Bennett once challenged me in Beat Saber, and he's like, "Dad, you can pick any level, and I'm gonna tear you apart." I was like, "Okay," and I put on. I think I picked one from the first block that I have double S'd, that tier at expert, and I put that thing on, and he's sitting there, and I'm just going nuts and getting all, and I take it off. I'm like, "There you go, double S," and he just turns pasty white, and he's like, "You can go double S?" Like, well, when you're good, yes.
Oh my
Now,
God, he's
right,
turning super.
right. That's what this line is for. Um, you know what? I will say this much, Mike. It's a great question, and I'll be honest. If I could figure a way to do, like, I would love to do Turtles in Time or some game like that, where I could play with my kids, like all as the Ninja Turtles. Like, if there was a way to construct it that they could be downstairs, I could be here on my computer, and we could have another person on a different computer at some point. That would be kind of fun. And actually, Mike, it's going to lead me to an interesting thing to tell Matt and Kyle, that I made a little purchase today because I had the tiniest amount of fun money come to me by way of a freelance gig, and TikTok Shop. They got me. I couldn't help myself. The deal was too good. I bought an HDMI retro gaming console that comes with two controllers. It plugs right
Oh
into the
yeah, one of
Oh,
HDMI.
those. Yeah, yeah.
And when we go to our next con, if I have it, like, we're gonna end up spending all night just going back through, because, like, I had looked at there's 40,000 games on there, but the ones that matter, it's like, oh hey, NBA Jam, when the Bulls were winning everything. I almost bought it just for that because I used to love NBA Jam. NFL Blitz is on there. Um, they have a section for arcade. They have this is the as deep a cut as I can say. They have the Neo Geo games that were in the back of Cal's roast beef.
oh,
Oh,
So for that alone, I was like, that is worth the $35 I paid for this.
actually, you know what? Uh, I think we can answer Michael's question. Well, at least maybe Mark and I can answer Mike's question. Because we've gone to Galloping Ghost.
That is true.
We have gone to Galloping Ghost. Was there any game, Mark? I'll expand on his question really fast. Was there any game that you picked where it was a two-player that you had to do with Bennett? Because I know Aiden and I wound up doing that one, the Japanese baseball robots. We did that one, and we did
I
like
want
I
to
think
say we
another
did.
one,
I want to say
but
Ben and I did The Simpsons.
yeah, so we did that one. I actually got Molly a little stool for her to sit on one time. And the three of us actually did X-Men Children of the Atom, the big cabinet.
Nice,
So,
nice. You mean the
I'm
one
just
where Cyclops gets a made up power?
yeah, that one.
not everything fits a
Uh-huh.
video game perfectly.
Right. So
No, 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 that
why
was
bother?
Colossus. Colossus had the supercharged just but
Which makes no sense.
no. But
He depowers and it creates a bubble. But
and then I
fair.
think there was like a third one that uh we wound up doing just I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a version of like Altered Beast. But it was just different animals and it was like four player. It was actually kind of fun, but that's probably as close as I was gonna say is like to co-op. So
Bloody Roar. Or
was
you can
that what it was?
Bloody Roar was a Tekken clone where you jammed on two buttons and you could form a beast form. So you were like a normal fighter, and then, like, you could become aware. werewolf, or one guy became like a vampire bat. And
No, this was very much like altered. This was very much like you got a power up and then you went from normal person to like buff person to beast person. So it was
yeah,
very
it's
much like Altered
definitely
Beast, but it was like it had that it had that aesthetic of like Turtles in Time and everything else where it's like four people could be on the same time, go up and down the screen, back and forth and all that stuff. So anyway,
dig it. Well, those were our questions. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Kathy. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Unshaven Rant-Cast. As always, we would like you to please like this episode on whatever vehicle you are listening to it. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And I dare you to find one other person to send the channel to. Tell them to subscribe as well. We are on our desperate journey to 100 subscribers. It's going to happen any year now. Only if y'all do it. Now, the fun part is we teased that when we went down to Indianapolis, we were all gonna make time to record us coming together to say stay unshaven since we've lost that mojo. It absolutely did not happen because Nightman was so debilitatingly stupid that we all
It
just
derailed
gave up.
us.
It ruined it. So it's not gonna happen. We're not sorry, but maybe we'll try it in Vegas.
if we remember.
Could happen.
Yeah. So we're just gonna ramshackle through it again. I think what I'll do is I'll do a 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna say stay unshaven. Okay.
Okay.
There we
As
go.
always,
Stay unshaven.
That wasn't half bad.
It wasn't. Also, your fingers were like this on the screen, like way over here.
We've done much worse.
We've
You gotta
done
do the other
worse.
hand. You gotta do the other hand. The other
Oh,
hand's
this
way more.
hand.
That one, yeah. That one's way more in frame.
I don't know why I'm going left. I'm the right-handed one. I got
Seriously.
nothing. Seriously, it's a problem. Well, I'm gonna hit stop now.